It's hard to create art. Whether that art be writing, drawing, music, animation, YouTube videos, or any number of things, it isn't easy to create and finish a project in its entirety. I'm very familiar with this creative process. Sometimes I'll be on a roll, writing constantly and finishing tons of ideas. Other times, I'll get one word down on a script and just not be able to go any further. There's a balance to be struck in creating something, and there's an undeniable spirit within creators that can be found. Keep Your Hands Off Eizouken is a new anime that really embraces and expresses the creative spirit, mainly in regards to making anime, but it also provides a fun look at the animation process in that idea. Normally, I don't watch anime in this style, more slice of life style, but something about Eizouken just really made me want to watch it. Maybe it was the story that hit close to home, maybe it was the great animation, or maybe it was the fact that Masaki Yuasa directed it, since he directed Devilman Crybaby, one of my favorite shows. Either way, I watched it and loved it for all 12 episodes. So I figured, now that the first season is finished up, and hopefully we'll get a second season sometime soon, what better time to review the series than now? But don't worry, since it ended relatively recently, I won't go deep into spoilers. Honestly though, since we're all quarantined at this point, we might as well go binge the series on Crunchyroll now. The basic plot of Eizouken follows three high school girls, Asakusa, Mizusaki, and Kanamori, as they make their very own anime. Yet they each want to do it for different reasons. Asakusa and Mizusaki both want to do it because of the art and the creativity of it, with Mizusaki mainly focusing on character animations, and Asakusa mainly focusing on the environment and the story behind it. However, Kanamori doesn't actually work on the anime itself, and is more on the logistical side of producing, distributing, and especially money-making. They all decide to make a school club to make their anime, namely because they can't do it in the anime club itself, although Mizusaki has to keep it secret from her parents. The rest of the show focuses on them making three different anime, one to present to the student council to get a budget, another for the robot club who commissions them, and the last one of their own decision, but in accordance with the city of Shibahima. While it may sound like a really simple show, that's because the plot isn't the main substance here. It's the characters who really drive the show. Their interactions, their motivations, their aspirations, how they got into anime, all of these are answers for the main three. By the end of the show, you'll have a really deep knowledge of these characters. They'll feel like people you've known your whole life. While the trio of girls are all the main characters, I'd say Asakusa is the most important character in the show. The show starts with her, she's the driving force behind the club's beginning, and the show ends with her as well. Asakusa has always wanted to animate since she was a kid, and she bases a lot of her ideas on the stuff she sees every day, in her city, in her area that she lives. Yet what makes Asakusa a great character is how she's relatable, with how she can be super passionate with her work, or get distracted and not do basically anything at all. Even when writing this script, there were times where I was on a roll, continuously writing, just making my way through. But there were also times where I would write a sentence, check Twitter for 20 minutes, then just stare at my blank document for a while. Just wanted words to come on the page when they would not on their own. Asakusa is like that in the show, where sometimes she'll do tons of drawing constantly, but other times she'll be procrastinating by finding animals or thinking of the ideas for different stories rather than the one she's currently working on. Now, Asakusa isn't just an everyman character, though, as she also has her own arc throughout the show. She has to learn to open up to people, which is hard considering her few friends, and begin to realize that you have to balance your creative ideas with the practicality of them. It's fun seeing her grow more and more confident when she's talking about her story ideas, but as she's still super nervous when presenting them and the finished products to different, larger audiences. Plus, Asakusa's imagination, passion, and joy can be wildly felt throughout the whole series, and helps inspire the other characters as well. The next of the main trio I'm going to talk about is Tsubame Mizusaki, the new addition to the friendship, and the animator focused mostly on character motions. She might be my favorite character, but I still love all of them. Mizusaki joins the club in secret from her rich parents, who don't want to work on any anime, and instead want her to focus on her modeling career. This is because Mizusaki is already a famous and a successful model, and she comes from the upper class, obviously, and it's a really interesting aspect to her character. And in fact, it's used by Kanamori to bolster the Eizouken's popularity and get people to actually come to their events and buy their anime. It's interesting because this allows Mizusaki to have a great balance of excited naivety to certain things she doesn't truly know about, but also a real drive to do animation to prove herself, and she wants to do it without any shortcuts, not using computers to fill in gaps, she wants to do it herself, and it's an interesting layer to her character. But it's hard to really go fully into what I love about Mizusaki, as they really It's pretty integral to spoilers that come later in the series, but I'll still go over the broad strokes. Seeing how Mizusaki first got into animation is really interesting and well done, and it shows how seemingly normal things can be used to enhance art in tons of ways. Mizusaki grew up finding art in the day-to-day and tried to find a way to express it, and this is how. I also love how Mizusaki and her parents' relationship is handled, as it feels realistic and grounded. She doesn't hate them or not want to see them at all, just because they're not supporting her dream, because she still loves her and she still loves them, and she knows they love her. And from their side, they don't want her to not do animation because she is just already successful as a model, but they think it's a big risk, and she doesn't need to risk that, risk her position or stress herself out too much with that. But when it all comes head, it's a really well done episode, and seeing Mizusaki stand up for herself and her art is inspiring and amazing. And now we reach the last of the trio, Kanamori. She isn't actually an animator, but does all the behind-the-scenes stuff that allows the club to thrive. She keeps the team on track for animation, mainly Asakusa, gets the information for each new anime, gets different clubs to help out with the production, deals with student council who tries to shut them down, and handles the money. Kanamori is mainly focused on money. While it might seem a bit shallow at first, there's an episode later on that shows why she likes money so much, and it's because of a local business her family used to run. That's all I'll say without getting into spoilers, but it's a real good episode and a real good insight into her background. Kanamori's character is interesting because she's much more confident than either Mizusaki or Asakusa, and she's always planning something as well. She's also a lot more level-headed, which is very, she brings a good energy to the group that they kind of need to stay on track. Whether it's using Mizusaki's modeling as an advertisement, getting additional clubs to help, or so that the projects will be finished on time, or using her mafia-like tactics to get people to pull strings and do favors for the club, she's always got something up her sleeve. As a character, Kanamori also acts as a great juxtaposition to both Asakusa and Mizusaki. So while they love anime for its art and the creativity, Kanamori is about the logic and the cold hard business of anime. This leads them to clash sometimes with Kanamori not understanding things like writer's block and the pursuing of certain aspects to art, but the other two not always understanding the behind-the-scenes nature of it, or how to actually get things shown off without Kanamori. The trio is what really makes the show so great and helps give it the strong identity that it has. They all play off of each other super well. We also see their friendship deepen throughout the show, including flashbacks to when they first meet, and it goes from what seems to be a somewhat reluctant on all sides to a really strong and truthful friendship overall. Clearly, the main characters are all great, but that doesn't mean that the side characters don't stand out on their own. There are a bunch of side characters who are great additions to the cast, even if they don't show up as much in the show. The student council acts as the show's antagonists as they try to get the Eizouken shut down for various reasons, including making profit off of their animations or outside advertising at things like the club fair. They make such good antagonists because they can intimidate everyone but Kanamori, so the Eizouken has to make schemes to get around them. By making them a part of the school, they have a tangible relationship to the club, which makes them feel like a real obstacle for a club, and a real natural one at that, rather than something like, a rival animation club that they have to, out-animate. It makes more sense for the world. There are also other clubs that appear prominently in the show, namely the Robot Club and the Audio Club. The Robot Club is actually a club who hires the Eizouken for an animation. While they're semi-demanding about the animation, they still try to help out with promoting and striking a balance between the club's ideas. Yet the Audio Club is less of a club, more just a kid named Domeki. She ends up joining the Eizouken to do audio, and because she was kicked out of her club room because of the student council. Seeing the way that the Eizouken ends up working with and affecting other clubs, and eventually lots of other people, helps inspire them and helps further the main trio's arcs bit by bit. Plus, the side characters aren't just part of the story, they end up growing too. They're mainly just really likable characters through and through, even though some, generally on the student council might not be the most likable of characters. They're all great to watch and unique in their own aspects. While Eizouken's story isn't the most complicated thing ever, it doesn't need to be, as the interactions between characters are what make the show so great and incredible. Everyone plays off each other really well, with Asakusa spearheading the group's antics, Mizusaki following and generally elevating those antics, and Kanamori generally stopping things and getting the group focused, but occasionally joining in with everyone else. These are what makes up the heart of the show. If you've seen memes or screenshots from the show, it's generally these parts that are being shared around. Either that, or it's, the actual really good artistic advice. These serve a larger purpose than just comedy, though, with everyone becoming friends, and better friends at that, and looser around each other as the show goes on, or more tense if they're trying to distract themselves while under pressure or, with upcoming deadlines. After watching the first episode, while I liked the story, it was these interactions that really kept me wanting to watch every episode afterwards. But seeing as Keep Your Hands Off Eizouken is an anime about making anime, the animation is incredible. It has a somewhat simple style for its characters, but when it comes to the environments and movement of the characters, it's super refined and detailed. By having the characters have designs that aren't over the top, it allows them to easily blend in with the different environments throughout the show. The city where the show takes place, Shibahima, is also awesome looking. It is used very well throughout the show, as the designers just kept adding new places to the structures and additions to the town. So there are a bunch of unique and interesting areas that spawn creative ideas for the Eizouken. We also see the most populated areas like the schools, but there are a bunch of abandoned areas as well, and these are more underground and quieter areas. It helps the city and world feel like its own character. And that's something that's even brought up in the show itself. The animation is just so lively all over the show. And there are also a bunch of references to other famous anime that you'll pick up. And with the really lively movements, it helps bring awesome ways to spice up tasks, simple tasks like drawing, writing, even just talking. It really pulls you into this world because of how masterfully crafted it is, from characters to the world, the environments really, and, how natural everything looks in it. One thing I want to bring up is how the anime that the Eizouken make is contrasted from their world by, either not having outlines or clearly being more sketched out. This helps instantly set it apart for the viewer, because obviously, they just made it in their style. It wouldn't look bad, but it would feel more like it was just a video. So this is a good way to show it as anime itself, but it also creates a great effect for the anime inside of another anime, very meta there. The animators also go to great lengths to make each anime from the Eizouken not perfect, but with each subsequent anime getting better and better and their style growing more. Occasionally the colors will be slightly off for a frame, or there will be a slight jank of animation, but that's what makes it feel natural. It helps show the club's continual growth and the refinement of their craft as they get better and better. However, the one big aspect of the show's animation that I haven't yet talked about is Asakusa's imagination. This is what really spices up the day-to-day activities of the club, as Asakusa tends to imagine their simple tasks as much more than they really are. Asakusa will imagine everybody breaking or repairing a broken space station, in space, obviously, when in reality they're just fixing up the club room. This works on multiple levels, as Asakusa, like most creative people, can't stop their imagination from running wild when doing menial tasks, wanting to spice things up, make them more interesting. But this also keeps things on screen interesting, keeps these actions a lot more appealing to the viewer than if you were just watching these basic things, because we see Asakusa put her own spin on it, They'll get their own different, technologies to help them navigate this dream world. Things that really, add more flavor, and like the designs of each character's, costumes in this world will be more fitting to their personality. So it's interesting, it's more aesthetically appealing, and it's more true to the characters. And these aren't just random things either, because they're generally used to show the ideas that Asakusa has had, or something that will be put into the club's anime in the dream worlds. So it's kind of a, if you pay attention, you'll see it pop up later. And really, these are some of my favorite scenes, because they're so fun, especially when some of the more serious characters like Kanamori get wrapped up into them. Just seeing her, seeing the more serious characters just be like, okay, well, Asakusa and Mizusaki are, just fully embracing it, fully going into it. It's a great time, and, fun is one of the things Eizouken does best. And while I may be largely praising the visuals, this isn't to disparage the audio at all. All of the voice actors do a great job with tone, inflection, and they will bring some amazing life to these characters. One really great thing in Eizouken is the music, though. There aren't too many tracks, but there's a fairly solid amount. But they're very fun and weird tracks, as they use unique instrumentation, weird progressions, and other things that, are in a similar style that you wouldn't hear in most modern music or most modern soundtracks, really. But it fits the world and it fits the club, and that's why I really like the soundtrack, because A, it's great to write to or to draw to or, just work to, because it's mainly instrumental. But, B, is that, it's fun and it's weird and it's, it's just a creative thing, because people trying stuff out and that stuff that works. But it really does suck that there hasn't been an official release to the song, so only a few are on YouTube. But one thing I can't not talk about is the theme song. Oh, Easy Breezy by Kelmeko. It's incredible, that theme song, just the animation is so lively. And that's one thing that really got me into the show as well, because I saw the intro on Twitter before the show even came out. It's just so fun. It has good expressions for what the show's going to be like, what the characters are going to be like. It's a banger of a song, so go watch that in its entirety. I can't put the whole thing here, but that's a great one right there. You got to watch that. Everything that I've said so far is what makes Keep Your Hands Off Eizouken a great show. That's not the only reason why I really like the show. What makes me really like it is how inspiring it is to me. It's maybe a little bit cheesy, but I feel like a lot of people who've watched it can relate. Seeing the characters come up with great ideas, facing challenges to make the anime like they want to and how they want to, and the success when they actually accomplish their goal, it inspires me as a creator. The show also thrives on its sense of wonder and creativity, which the plot and animation revolve around. You see it with the dream world, you see it with how they persevere and they get their anime done. It's great. It's great seeing a show that basically says if you put effort and heart into your work, things will work out, Maybe not how you first imagined, maybe not immediately, but by the end they will work out, After each episode, I felt more inspired to do anything, to work on what I want to, because if I do everything I can to work on it, it'll turn out all right in the end. If you're looking for a fun, lighthearted, and inspiring show to watch, I can't recommend Keep Your Hands Off Eizouken nearly enough. It's a great watch, has some incredible animation, great characters, and it's just fun, man. I know I've said that a lot, but, there's a lot of, it's good for there to be shows and movies that are sad or introspective or, deep, but sometimes you want something that's fun and inspiring, and that's what this show is. It's a show that anyone can watch and enjoy, but if you're a creator of some sort, it should resonate with you heavily. And I know some people out there are, not super into anime, but it's, A, it's dumb bias, and B, it's it's very vanilla, it's very safe, there's no, fan service or any of the stuff like that, because that's not what the show's about. The show's about people being creative, people, making their art. So I think anybody can watch it and anybody can really enjoy it, because, hey, everybody should watch it, and everybody should enjoy it. Thank you so much for watching my video about Keep Your Hands Off Eizouken. It's a great show. I'm glad that I found it, If you hadn't seen it before this video, hopefully you have been inspired to go see it now, because it's great. Let me know in the comments what you think of the show, if you have seen it, who do you like the most of the characters, why do you like the show so much, because it's just great seeing everybody else's opinions on it, and seeing the tons of fan art the show has made is great. It's, the show's inspired people to do that, so, I can't sing its praises high enough. It's such a fun show, and another anime that I like, Evangelion, it's good, but that is not a show I can watch anytime. It's got a lot of deep psychological stuff, and it's really good, super high quality. But this is a show I can pick up an episode at any time, and it's just great. It's fun. I'll leave satisfied. So please leave a like if you enjoyed this video, and hit subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. Let me know if there's anything else you want me to talk about related to Eizouken, and I might just do that. And until next time, I'm Logan. Goodbye.